If you're in the market for investment-worthy bags, watches, and fine jewelry, Rebag is the answer. Rebag is a luxury resale marketplace where each piece is carefully vetted and verified by experts to ensure quality and authenticity. If you're in the market, use Rebag to buy and sell finds from the world's top brands, including Hermes, Chanel, and Cartier. Head to Rebag.com to get 10% off your first purchase with code REBAG10. Shop today at Rebag.com. That's REBAG.com and use promo code REBAG10 for 10% off your first purchase.
Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Welcome to the PowerCat Podcast, GoPowerCat.com's Kansas State Athletics Show. Make sure you're subscribing to our show at Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you get your podcasts. Now, from the GPC studios, here's your host, GoPowerCat publisher, Tim Fitzgerald.
Welcome to the PowerCat Questions Podcast. Another edition. It's like it happens every week. It's the darndest thing. Tim Fitzgerald, Zach Carlson, and Ryan Gilbert. That's your crew today. Dude's here. I think he just licked Gills. I think he just reached out and licked Gills, and Daphne might bark at something mysterious at any moment, although she's going to get some attention. You know who else deserves your attention? As Zach pets both dogs at once. It's a skill. The Fridge Wholesale Liquor. It's like petting 3 dogs at once. It's that good, that enjoyable, so good for your soul. Get into the Fridge every time you're in Manhattan, and if you're already in Manhattan, make sure the Fridge is your hometown liquor store. The Fridge Wholesale Liquor, at the corner of this and that in the town in which we live. Guys, I'm tired. Gills, you're going to have to be really good today. You're going to have to kick ass in this thing. Zach, you probably will have to carry me. Hopefully not literally. Those stairs.
I can't do that. I don't think I could, even if it was both of us.
I'm tired, guys. I'm so tired.
I'll pick up the slack as long as you promise to give us a Pac-12 rant. Deal?
Oh,
well, the Pac-12 is not good at making deals, so never mind.
I'll do it. I'll do it just for you and just for my soul. I hope everyone's keeping up on everything going on. The Daily Delivery is about that quite a bit right now. I'm just in the mood to rant about these things. But I would like to point out that in honor of Ryan Gilbert and our friends at the place he works, today's art looks like it was inspired by a certain taco restaurant.
It can't be named on this one.
Like a wrestling joint?
Yeah. I was trying to grapple with the right words. Yeah. There we go. Here we go. It's your questions from Wabash Station. I'd stall some more, but who wants that? Nobody wants that. Gills, talk.
First question comes from TConman08. What are the chances Keontae stays? He probably is not a first-round pick, and he has a lot of NIL opportunity with K-State or another school, as much as that would sting.
0. I think he didn't come back and give up $5 million in an insurance policy to possibly play a second-year college basketball and blow a knee or have another heart issue or whatever. He's going to get paid. Folks, now, this is one of those situations where you look at a kid and you see how he plays, and I'll go back to Halliburton a few years ago at Iowa State. I didn't see him as an NBA guy, but the NBA people were like, oh, yeah, he is, and he is. Keontae's the same way. What the NBA sees runs counter to what college basketball fans see. They see a guy that kind of cruises and can shift it down a gear and still be really good, and can shift it up a gear and be incredible, who just kind of moseys through and can go one-on-one If you look at how he played games at Kansas State, often they looked more like an NBA player would play. Every possession wasn't urgent. And these aren't all compliments about Keontae. I mean, I saw him at times just kind of shift down a couple gears and cruise through games. The Florida game, for one, that one really stood out at me. But you do that in the NBA. And he doesn't just disappear when he does that. He's just good. I mean, his low gear is good. When he gets going, he's really good. But the NBA sees that because you can't go breakneck like you do in college for 30 games in the NBA when it's 82 plus. His game translates to the NBA. Does he have things he needs to work on? Yes. He needs to be able to dribble better. Let's be blunt here. But there's a lot of NBA in his game. He's not coming back. He just hasn't filed yet for whatever reason. He will put his name in. And if he doesn't come back, if someone wants to give him like $10 million of the NIL, maybe he'd do it. But he can go overseas and get paid really well. It's going to be hard for the NIL to match overseas money, let alone NBA.
Yeah, he's not coming back.
No.
And that was the expectation coming in for this year. Get what you need out of Kansas State. Prove that you are worthy to play in the NBA. Now, did he prove that or not? That's up for debate. But the one concern that I have with Johnson is he's 24? Like, he's old. And you know what you're getting when you draft Keontae Johnson, right? With a guy like Halliburton, like you mentioned, or some lottery pick who's 19, you can develop that guy in your NBA system. You can get him in the gym, give him those good habits, give him those fundamentals, and then he can be that superstar. With Keontae Johnson, you kind of know what you're getting. Like, I know he kind of took a couple years off with his heart condition and all that, so maybe he still could get better, but you know what you're getting with him. So that's why I'm fearful that he may not get, that first round draft pick or even drafted at all. I think he's going to get a look by a number of teams, absolutely, but it's tough for Johnson. He's not coming back. I'm not trying to talk him into coming back or anything like that because he is gone, but I don't love his draft stock right now at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, being a 24-year-old rookie is not ideal in a world you're playing up against 19-year-old rookies, one-and-done guys or guys that went to the G League for a year or, whatever. I don't think that time is on Keontae's side. But I will say him not declaring at this point, I'll give a slim chance he returns.
But the thing is, Keontae Johnson's not
just so I can say I was right and you guys were wrong.
You're playing devil's advocate, right? You're pulling a page out of my book. But he's not a social media guy, is he? Like Marquise Noel, that's, throughout the season, he was always on Twitter and stuff. And so he was very quick to come out with that NBA draft announcement as if we didn't know he was going to do that. But Keontae Johnson doesn't seem like he cares that much about his social media presence. And so maybe that's just why we haven't seen anything from him.
Do guys that are essentially, yes, he could technically, apply and come back.
Technically, yeah.
But does a player that is clearly done with college need to declare for the draft? I've thought that's been a ridiculous trend lately of,
it's like, wow,
of football players. And it's like I'm declaring for the draft, and it's like you're out of eligibility. You are draft eligible. Congratulations. Your little social media graphic did nothing. It didn't change any situation. Yeah. Your announcement was pointless. We know.
It's a weird trend.
We know. So maybe Keontae's on my side saying, "Hey, I don't need a graphic. You know I'm in. I'm out. I can't play in college anymore."
I think he technically has to put his name in, physically put it in to be.
Doesn't mean you have to put something on Twitter, though.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. Any hope of Keontae coming back, I would encourage you to look at his reaction in the locker room after the FAU game. Like when he's paused for like 15 seconds and like held in tears,
Yeah.
You could tell that it was hitting him that his college career was over.
I'll say this. There's a greater chance Naquan Tomlin doesn't come back than Keontae does.
Sure.
And here's why I say it. I saw someone on our message boards mention that they didn't think Naquan is an NBA guy. Like, that is exactly what the NBA wants. They want a guy that has a huge upside to him, that has untapped potential. That's why they go draft an 18-year-old from France that nobody's heard of, because they want dibs on that guy when he starts to develop and really become what he can be. Naquan's starting to develop. You can see what is there. He started to hit 3-point shots a little bit more regularly at the end of the season. He started to show more one-on-one game later in the season at 6'9", 6'10". I'm actually afraid someone in the NBA is going to say, yeah, someone's going to take you in the second round because they're going to park you in the D League and do the two-way contract thing until you develop. But they want to have you because I think his upside is enormous, maybe bigger than Keontae or Marquise and, almost anyone that's come through the program since Michael Beasley. So, I think I'm more worried about Naquan. I'm confident he'll come back, but you just never know what the NBA will tell to these kids.
I think at this point in time, if they were to go up 1v1, Keontae Johnson would take him to school.
Right.
But in 10 years from now,
right,
I'd say Naquan Tomlin has a much higher ceiling than Keontae Johnson.
Yeah, 5 years.
Sure,
yep,
sure.
I agree.
Because he's, 3 years younger? 4 years younger?
Well, he's only been playing organized basketball for
Sure.
3 years. So
it's incredible. It really is. Yeah, I think he'll have a bright future, but I'm confident he'll be back another year. And Keontae, it was nice. The thing I really was impressed about Keontae, and it was an NIL thing, so he did get paid. But, after his eligibility's done at Kansas State, he's reading books to kids at an elementary school. And I thought that's kind of cool because, honestly, the one and dones get done with the season. They're like, I'm just done. I don't have to finish class. I'm not getting my degree. I'm playing basketball. And they're just out. So it was impressive to see him still involved in the community.
Next question from Kat in Colorado. Let's speculate about the K-State football offense. Running backs and receivers as position groups both have great upside. Both these positions collectively also have limited to no proven experience at Kansas State. Which group will be more successful in 2023?
You always have a time when you don't have a track record on your players. In fact, that's probably more often than not. You're going to have a player that steps into a role. I think we look at Giddens, we realize that this kid can play. I don't look at him as a downgrade from Deuce. I look at him as just a different weapon. I think what we're going to see between the two running backs is kind of not committee, but they'll both do their own thing. And I think they understand what they have with these two guys. Treshaun Ward's he's not Deuce either, even though he's smallish, electric, and can get into the open field. I'm not worried about running back. I'm not really worried about receiver. I'm going to say it. There was a lot of times when a certain receiver wasn't running the right route or wasn't running at 100%, wasn't ready for the ball, wasn't doing a downfield block. I think they're going to be better at receiver. There, I said it. I just think they're going to – it may not be one star player, but I think as a group they'll be more impactful.
I agree because you know what you're getting at running back for the most part. You know what you're getting, and the amount of improvement that you can do from Deuce Vaughn, if there is improvement, you're either staying the same, getting either a little bit worse or a little bit better. There's not as much, deviation from what your standard of success is there. Wide receiver, though, there was so much they could improve on. And I think that what we're seeing, Keenan Johnson coming in, RJ Garcia is looking pretty good. There's a bunch of guys in that room that maybe didn't get the respect or the passes thrown to them like they're going to this season. So I think that just the upside on the receivers in that receivers room is really what I think is going to be the improvement on this offense for this year.
All three of us can't agree, right?
No, we can.
So
agree.
I have to pick running backs for that reason. I'm sorry. But, DJ Giddens really did step up through the last half of last season. So pair him with Ward. The thing, I agree, the ceiling is high with the receivers, but the floor, I think, is still relatively low because Garcia, he's a guy that did come along, but how many catches did he have last year? 10? He still has to prove himself. Jaden, Jackson, can he rise his ceiling? Sure, but he still has to prove that. So until we see it, I'll say running backs here just because of, like you said, Zach, you kind of said it yourself. We know what we're getting. It's a safe option to know that they're going to get you 100 yards on the ground between the two guys each game. And I know this question is solely about the running backs and receivers, not about the passing game itself. But, I'll be curious what they do or don't do with Ward in the screen game and stuff like that.
I would totally agree. I'm excited to see how much of a weapon he is in the passing game. And that's something we saw Giddens make a hell of a catch late in the year. Was it the Big 12 Championship? When was that? I can't remember.
I think so.
Went along the boundary and went up and grabbed the ball. So I think That's another guy that still has plenty of room to improve, and I think we'll see that happen.
Well, the staff has the decision to make, right? Like, do we want to keep the same sort of offense with Deuce Vaughn as that superstar, or do we want to share the love a lot more and get these receivers involved?
Yep. I would agree. I hope they share the love, because that's what I'm about, Ryan Gilbert, sharing the love.
Next.
Yeah.
Don't let that pause.
Don't let that. Let's move on.
From Exhausted Nihilist, I'd like to hear the staff's expectations for 23-24 K-State women's basketball. Seems to me like the best roster in years is returning.
Agree. Totally agree. You got 2 potential All-Americans, 2 potential first-team All-Big 12, and I would say that even if they only picked 5 members of the All-Big 12 team, women's basketball picks 10 members of the first team.
I wasn't aware of that.
Me neither.
It's stupid. Anyhow.
2 teams, they can play each other.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. This is going to be a great opportunity for Coach Smitty to really kind of energize his program, have a big year. He needs to translate this into something important. You know what I mean? He needs to really kind of hit it out of the park here and get it done.
I mean, this team beat Iowa, the national runner-up, the player of the year, without K-State's best player, Ayoka Lee. So, I think the talent is there on this team. You bring back Yoki for next year, who, by the way, scored the most points in a game in history last season that she was here. So I think that the talent is there, and I think that this could be the best group of K-State women's basketball players in 20 years. Can you believe that we're saying it's been 20 years since those amazing teams in the early 2000s?
That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. Oh, my God.
I want to backtrack.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I like that they have essentially two first teams. Because with one, you have the first team in men's. It's like, okay, who are they going up against, right? Like the NFL, you have your Pro Bowl. I know it's not really a thing anymore, but the MLB, you have the All-Star game. Like these 2 teams go up against each other, and we have one winner. We could have one truly all Big 12 team if you had 2 teams to play each other, right? I kind of like the women's way of doing it.
You would. You just would, wouldn't you? It's all about the women to you.
If they aren't playing an actual all-star game, no.
I get it.
I like that. No.
The Big 12 had 6 first teamers this year. Am I tripping?
I don't think that's
What, for men?
Yeah.
There's a 6th man of the year.
No, I swear there were 6.
Some years they will get a tie for the 5th spot, but I don't think that happened this year.
Okay. Ignore me.
All right.
I try to quite often.
I agree with you guys on women's, though.
Okay. Thanks.
Last question of the first half. This one's flying by. From Power Cat Orion. Is there an academic year in K-State history with as much momentum as the 23-24 seasons will have? Football, men's basketball, and women's basketball should all be postseason teams and are competing for championships. Do you guys see Joe Lenardi put K-State on the first 4 out in his most recent bracketology for next year?
I don't understand Joe Lenardi at all. I don't – what?
I mean, like right now with K-State's roster, I can see that, but they're doing some work in the portal, man.
Yeah, that was just weird. I mean, yeah, they're not even into the portal yet all the way.
Just, they were one of the 8 best teams in the country this year.
Right. And they return, some, enough. I don't know. That's again, it just gets back to my theory about
I don't think Lenardi puts any thought into these picks.
Oh, he's listening right now. You know he's listening to this.
He literally doesn't put any thought into it. There's no logic. It's all for clicks. It's for us to make little stories about. We like it because it's content. That's about it.
Wow. Just burst my bubble. I thought he did his homework. I thought he was all over this stuff.
Yeah. He just picks names out of a hat, basically. What? He's probably got Kentucky as a 1 seed or something?
I was going to name my next dog Lenardi. I guess not now.
You can't. It has to start with D.
Donardi.
Denardi?
Yeah.
Delenardi.
It's the, it's the dog version of Joe Lenardi, but it's got a little Italian in there. Italian. Delenardi.
We have a question to answer, Fitz.
What was the question?
Has there been momentum for three teams like there has?
It's really cool. It really is cool. Yeah, I mean, I think coming out of 10 years ago would have been very similar with 3 Big 12 titles.
Yeah, with baseball.
But this is about women's basketball for the question, not baseball.
Yeah, I'll just say I think that everyone is long-term optimistic about football and men's basketball because of the coaches. They feel like they've got a system. They know what they want. They know what they're going to do. And even in years where they have to rebuild, they're going to be fine. And that, that'll be reinforced this offseason or this football season if Chris Kleiman delivers a solid season, a good season, a top 3 finish in the conference. They want to go back to the Big 12 title game. If they get back there and if they win it, I mean, who's going to doubt him after that? So I think we're all bought in on Jerome Tang. I mean, I'm now eagerly awaiting his latest edition of Hang with Tang. They had the couch on campus today.
Looked like the president sat down with him.
They look like football players.
Will Howard, yep.
There's social media of him hugging Will Howard. Is Will Howard switching to basketball? Tune in to GoPowerCat.com to find out.
Jolyn already has that scoop, actually, already.
Well, good for him.
Well, you guys, I wasn't here. I was still in high school back when K-State had the Triple Crown, but it was Bruce Weber's first year. I know things didn't work out in Manhattan, but there had to be a buzz after winning the conference in year 1, or am I wrong?
You know what? And people have pointed this out on our message board. It all lost so much value when you lose in the first round of the tournament.
Sure.
I mean, winning conference titles in football is significant. And it's not necessarily less significant in basketball, but it does get overshadowed by the NCAA tournament. Your value is rated on that. You don't have to win a conference championship to be NCAA champions. So, I mean, it's just a whole different kind of thing. And every time they seem to step forward, look like maybe they were going to be good, for the next season, they'd lose the NCAA tournament and kind of lose all their momentum. It was just horrible.
If the Sugar Bowl was a college football playoff game, would that have put a damper on the Big 12 championship? If the same result happened, that same game, the same score, do you think that puts a damper on the Big 12 championship?
Do you think anyone at TCU minds that they didn't win the Big 12, but they did go to the national championship game? Probably not.
But they won their semifinal. I mean, let's pretend like K-State was a semifinal game. I think that it might put a little bit of a damper on that Big 12 championship, but, yes, TCU lost the Big 12 championship, but they also won the Fiesta Bowl. So I'd say it's almost even in a sense there.
By and large,
they got absolutely stomped in the national championship game, which sucks.
And that's what people are going to remember most.
Yeah.
I feel like they lost the Big 12 championship, they won their semifinal game, whatever. But I think people are going to take away from the season the most, them getting just crushed in the championship game. Who knows? We'll see. But I feel like right now that's what the takeaway will be from this year's TCU squad.
It feels like there's a lot of momentum, not just in these 3 sports, but baseball seems okay at times. But you have a brand new volleyball arena with a brand new coach. There's other things around this athletic department that are buzzing right now, and I think that it's a great time for momentum and success for K-State.
Yeah, Jerome Tang's waited his whole life for this opportunity, right? Bruce Weber was, recycled coach. Is that a fair word to say? Mm-hmm. Bill Snyder was 104 years old, when they won the Big 12,
that's unfair.
right?
He wasn't over 100.
Okay, 120. But Chris Kleiman's young, so looking ahead at the future, I think it's different. It's better right now than it was in 2012-13.
Okay, I agree. That's it for the first half of the Power Cat podcast. I think I did okay. I kind of lost my way a few times. I don't have time for a nap during this break, but I'll be back on the other side with these 2 guys who are going to have to do a better job of carrying the show. That's just the bottom line here. They got to do better. I'm fine. I'm doing great.
GoPowerCat.com's Power Cat podcast continues after this short break.
Hey, Mel, Bri here. Gotta work from home today because the whole family caught a nasty...
Daddy!
Hey, Mikey, if you're gonna puke, find the popcorn bowl! but my availability is 110%. Coincidentally, so is my fever. Kidding. Mel, I'm so cold but hot. But I'm going to get you that budget just as soon as... Mikey, popcorn bowl!
Press 1 to use Instacart and get your family sick day essentials delivered in as fast as 30 minutes. Press 2 to keep working. Do not press 2. Just use Instacart, Brian.
Welcome back to the Power Cat Podcast. Now, let's return to the GPC studios.
Welcome back to the Power Cat Questions Podcast. Never done it that way. Probably never will again.
Don't do that ever again.
Didn't quite work. Tim Fitzgerald, Zach Carlson, Ryan Gills Gilbert right here in the GPC studio, which is a fancy way of saying my basement. We're in my basement with two dogs. One's licking a lot. The other looks stoned.
Could you imagine if your basement was sponsored? Like how we used to have a sponsored studio?
Yeah. Maybe I can get AT&T Fiber to sponsor. Brought to you by AT&T Fiber. That's all we got on the west side of town. That's a nice ad for them. Actually, they hooked me up. They took care of me. I got fiber running right into the house.
They're going to say running right into your you-know-what.
We made good time in the first half. Why stop there? We're sponsored by The Fridge. You know what you can do at The Fridge? You can get in and out of there very quickly because it's a well-organized store. They got a great, helpful staff. They have multiple checkout lanes, and you can get your party going quicker than probably with any other liquor store. Stop into The Fridge, and in honor of The Fridge, we're going to go too. Here we go. Your questions from Wabash Station. Gills.
Well, I thought we were going to go to the fridge.
We'll do that later.
Okay, sounds good. First question from Eric Schneid. What's on top of your wish list for K-State athletics?
Oh, like overall?
That's all she wrote.
I want a national championship.
One natty. Any sport.
Anything.
Crop judging.
Team sport.
Crop judging.
It's
An NCAA sport.
Yeah.
Not fishing, not rodeo, not crop judging, not fishing. Did I say fishing? I don't know.
Look, I'm going to be very honest. I find the crop judging and meat judging teams at Kansas State both dominant and quite filled with judgment. And I don't like to judge others the way they judge everything they do.
They ain't played nobody, Paul.
I think we need to emphasize the deep-seated rivalry that exists between the meat judging teams at Kansas State and Texas Tech. We need to honor that. I just won a national championship in a sport involving a ball. I have no idea what that was. There was just a bang upstairs, and we're the only ones in the house.
Your window's open, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
It sounded like a bird hit a window or something.
Okay.
I'm surprised Daphne didn't bark.
No, she only barks at stuff that isn't important. That was kind of important. I don't know what that was. Something blowing over. But yeah, my preference would be football, but I'll take men's basketball, and everything else is kind of equal. Although I'm kind of partial to volleyball since that was my sport. We got a long ways to go at Kansas State to get to that level, but I think it's possible with the commitment of a stadium, not a metal building that contains a volleyball arena, an actual arena. Just give me a natty.
You're going to roll your eyes, but winning a golf national championship would be incredible because it's match play. You get 5 guys, 5 matches. It's on the Golf Channel. It's like watching the Ryder Cup. It's like watching the Sunday pairing.
I'll give you this. I find match play more entertaining as a viewer than just regular stroke play, unless it's a really good back and forth, 2, 3, 4 guys just going at it.
Yeah.
But match play, just because every hole resets. You got more drama.
Well, the score is
Well,
still
I know,
the score,
but you don't go into, I get what you're saying, but yeah, I mean, you start off with an opportunity at the next hole to beat them. And then, even if you've lost 3 in a row, you've got ground to make up. I'm making no sense. I need a nap. What do you want from this?
My wish list, I don't care who it is, I want somebody's name to be in the rafters soon with basketball.
Yours?
Mine?
I'm committing soon, guys. I'm committing soon.
We will have you committed, yes.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Why did I think that Dream didn't know who you were?
I think Dream was pissed off, genuinely. Literally. I don't know if you didn't read the whole tweet. Did you see my tweet?
And then Cole quote tweeted it, and then Reem was like,
well, so I was at the rec the other day.
Yeah.
I tweeted and said that there was breaking news that Ryan Gilbert was about to commit to K-State. Even though he got cut from his high school team, he graduated 2 years ago. Sources are saying he's going to be a starter next year. And Cole, you remember Jareem's tweet about the one guy that was, yeah. And then so we brought that up, and then Jareem retweeted Cole's tweet, and I think Jareem took it seriously and is pissed at Ryan Gilbert for faking his K-State. I'm using K-State to boost my NIL. NIL is what I'm doing.
Do you got an NIL?
Yeah, I'm not supposed to talk about it, but I do.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's an NDA.
No more questions regarding that.
This is all so confusing. I have a NASA.
Can I add one, though?
What?
No more In-N-Out re-entry and sell beer.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Yeah, Gene Taylor addressed
He did
that.
address
in the
that.
latest
He didn't.
Ask the AD.
Did he address it or did he punt it?
He
again?
punted. He punted. He's not going to. Look, I'm okay. You wanted a rant. You wanted me wound up. The tweaker just kicked it. Look, all of you fuddy-duddies that don't want the general public to have beer sales so you can stumble back to your car for free booze because you get to park in the front lot and, you just, it's like you don't care about the little people. Why do you hate the little people, all of you that have the primary parking up by the stadium? The little people want their fun too. Just don't have re-entry and sell beer in the stadium. Let's be adults here. Let's be adults. It's the only place in the world you can't do it at a Chiefs game. Can you? I don't think so.
No. NFL, no.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any professional.
You can't do it at a
sports that you go in and
concert.
out.
This isn't Country Stampede where between acts you go to the trunk and pull out the vodka and Gatorade and get hammered. I'm not saying I ever did that. I did. But it's not the same thing. You go to the game takes place, you leave the game at the end. Quit leaving game in the middle. No leave game. No leave game. Buy your beer inside.
I think it's interesting that on the most recent Ask the AD, he said that they do the fan survey after every season. It's almost a 50-50 split between people that want beer sold in the stadiums or pass outs.
Which makes it obvious what 50% wants the pass outs because that's winning.
Yeah.
50-50 means someone gets to win.
I want to know.
It's the money people.
Well, I want to see who's taking these surveys and where's their parking spot and put that on a map.
Right.
I want to see just, put red for pass outs, blue for in the stadium or whatever. I'm sorry I picked KU colors for
gracious.
For this dots, but put all these dots on a map and let's see what it looks like. Because I'm curious. Because at a certain point, if you stop the pass outs, the people that are close and park close, they're not going to care if you sell beer or not in the stadium, and they're not going to need to park that close to the stadium either. So I feel like it's more about people protecting their value of their parking spots, which is dumb.
It's dumb. Let's just do this right.
Can I change my answer?
No.
Okay. Next question.
Go ahead.
Oh, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I on my wish list, I want to be named part of Jerome Ting's coaching staff.
You do.
Between my help with the starting lineup and giving Marquise Noel his proper motivation this offseason, I truly deserve to be a part of the staff.
I don't think we've ever put out the Marquise thing.
I think we have. I think we talked about it a little bit.
No, I don't think we've tweeted it or talked about it.
It was on a press conference, though, so people...
No, I cut it off at the end. It was like at the very end. Yeah, I didn't publish it. No, that clip was just... I cut it off.
We buried it.
We buried it.
We are the media. We control what goes out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd add you to the coaching staff. It's not like they have a shortage of people on the coaching staff. They just add one more chair.
Good.
What was K-State's record with your starting lineup?
They lost. Well, Desi Sills didn't play in the West Virginia game.
They only lost twice, right?
Yeah. TCU game in the Big 12 tournament and then Elite Eight.
God dang, you're the secret weapon.
Yeah.
Read the next question.
From Curtis Hawley. I've never seen this one.
It's the second post, but I think he had a ton of months. So
okay.
Welcome, Curtis.
Welcome. We love Curtis.
We love him.
For those of us without an unlimited budget, What is the most effective way to spend money to help K-State athletics, mostly football and men's basketball? Buying season tickets to games, spending more at concessions, giving to NIL, giving to the Ahern Fund.
Wow. So this is limited funds?
Yes. It's like he used it like a double negative. So this is a K-State fan with limited funds. What's the best way to spend your money?
Give it to the athletic department.
Give it to the Ahern Fund.
Yeah, because then you get points. You get preferred seating, ticketing, that type of thing.
But if you want to see this team win NIL.
Well, yeah, but again,
if you're only in it for yourself, go Ahern Fund. You get better, all that stuff, like you mentioned.
But no, I mean, that's not true either. I mean, the Ahern Fund pays for a lot of scholarships, and that's what it is. And they now have the fund that helps pay coaches, too, within the Ahern Fund. So, I mean, there's a couple ways to do it. Honestly, the NIL money mostly needs to come from the big donors. Look, I understand why Gene Taylor's a little bit hesitant about coming out and embracing the NIL. He doesn't want to give the impression, I don't need your money, give it to the NIL, because this department operates above the board. I mean, it makes a profit every year just enough. I mean, they're very fiscally responsible. Any dip in those incoming donations could greatly impact their ability to do what they do. They're not going to take a loss. They're going to make cuts. So I get why he's hesitant, but I also think people are wise enough to know that, particularly if you're a significant donor, that I'm not going to give up my status with the university and cut that. I'm just going to give more money to the NIL. No, everyone wants that status. They want that parking spot so they can go out and drink at halftime. It all ties together. You see, this is how you become a conspiracy theorist. Oh, you see that? That dot connected to that one perfectly.
See, what I see here is if you want the most bang for your buck, spend it with the athletic department. But it's like the athletic department is like a market index fund. Okay. You put your money into that, and then if you're giving money to NIL, that's like picking individual stocks. That you're just throwing money at different players, hoping that they pan out and win you national championships.
Actually, the real answer is do whatever you feel like offers you the best way to impact K-State sports. If you feel like just my little self throwing money in the Ahern Fund will be just kind of lost in the mix, I'll get some points, and maybe help me out my tickets and seating, okay, a little bit, but probably not enough to move the needle. Well, if I give the NIL, maybe they go get the next Keontae. We're able to get him, and that guy takes him to the Final Four. So I get it. I think they're both really noble. I mean, I have no problem telling someone to give to either one of them. I think you should be giving to me. Just,
That's what I was going to say.
I'm like the NIL.
Subscribe
I'm just the TIM.
Subscribe to Go PowerCat.
TIM. Give to the TIM. Yes. Make sure you're subscribing to Go PowerCat.
Tim in money.
I like it.
Next question from Joe Katz. I know that being part of the SEC or Big Ten would provide much more money, but is it possible that the new Big 12 could be an easier path to a national championship in either football or basketball, specifically for K-State, than the aforementioned conferences?
I agree. Not just for K-State. I think it's true. I think Texas A&M might have been good enough to survive the Big 12 and get into the playoff at some point if they hadn't left. But instead, they're in the SEC West where it was absolutely loaded for years. Look, I'm not going to even accept that in 10 years the money will be that out of proportion. I think the stuff Brett Yormark's working on will balance that out. Let's be honest here. It never made any sense to any of us that basketball had such a limited amount of value to these TV media deals when we look at what's being paid to air the NCAA tournament. It never made sense to me. And now he's exposed that as a grift. They've been cheating the conferences, and nobody has more basketball value than the Big 12. And if we get to paying for value, the Big 12 is going to close the gap. Maybe not all the way, but enough to be competitive. We're done. That's it. I just shut the door.
Zachary has nothing on this subject.
Yeah, I think what you said is correct.
It's an accurate, what is it?
An accurate assessment of events.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you would never want to go
Description
to the SEC.
of events.
Stupid.
No, I think there's so much ego involved, and
Well, sure, there's more money, but if you want to win, the hell are you doing?
yeah, I mean, it's not like I think winning the Big 12 is easy. Certainly not in basketball, but winning the SEC is pretty much reserved for two programs. It takes, an aberration like LSU having a special year. Tennessee might have been on line to have that, and it came derailed with injuries. But it's an Alabama-Georgia conference. They want to brag about how good they are. Well, you're good with two schools. They're really good. They are the most dominant football programs in the country. Yay.
I think the Big Ten's a little closer to the Big 12 in football, though.
I totally agree.
I think you can put a K-State, an Oklahoma State, a
TCU, Michigan.
TCU. Yeah. You can put any of those teams in the Big Ten, especially the Nebraska division of the Big Ten, and make it to the championship game.
I heard
easily.
over and over how TCU get pushed around by a Big Ten team, and that didn't happen. Didn't happen at all. It happened in the championship, but didn't happen in that game.
Well, that was one of the two elite schools, right?
Yeah.
In the championship game.
Yep. And boy, they were good that day.
Wow. Oh. All right, last question. Fitz, you ready?
Yeah.
Darren Sproul, superfan, wants to know, at this point, isn't the Pac-12 proving they are unwanted? Isn't the CW where mediocre shows go to die?
Okay. So I was getting ready to record a daily delivery the other day about how I've decided the CW is a good play. I mean, given that they don't have ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, any of those coming to at least the CW, one, has a nationwide structure of linear platform. They're in every major market. Maybe not as much on the West Coast as the East Coast, but yeah. So I was intrigued by that. Also, they have a new owner who may literally rebrand the CW to get away from exactly what we've been joking about. I mean, you're not going to have Superman, Lois, and Silent George. You're not going to have that spinoff series. They're going to rebrand. What they've been doing, it's kind of funny. They've never changed what they do, kind of teen programming, superhero programming, but aimed at younger audiences. They've never changed that, and they just always suck. They're just never great. So I thought it might be a good play for them. And then we find out not only has the CW dropped negotiations long ago, they were never offering nationwide linear coverage. They were going to put it on in selected markets, mostly out west. I don't understand that at all. So I think the Pac-12 is just caught in this death spiral, and they just find a way to keep stalling the inevitable. Nobody's going to step forward to save your ass. And it'll be great irony if the first ones to realize this is a load of crap is Colorado when they come back, because that's what it sounds like as of now. It sounds like Colorado is about ready to jump. Just say, this is ridiculous. You keep moving the date back because you don't have anything. If you had something, you would tell us. They have $90 million guaranteed from ESPN. 90. Now, I don't know if that's for 10 or 12, but at best it's $9 million a school. So that doesn't even get you a third of the way to closing the gap. And there's no indication Apple and Amazon are serious about this. Apple's getting their clock cleaned by the MLS deal. Apparently people aren't signing up for the bonus coverage, which I find surprising. If you're into soccer, you think you would. But
I didn't sign up for it.
Yeah. So I just don't see either one of those entities diving into an unknown product like the Pac-12 that, when I say unknown, they are known. That's why nobody wants to bid on it. The cultural differences between what West Coast viewers want and what Midwest or Southern viewers want is so radically different. They don't sit around and watch college football all day. We do. It's just not part of their culture. It's nicer weather. So what? That's the truth. You go outside and have fun. That's your culture. Then why do you expect to be on the same page financially with everyone else when your fans aren't as committed and the numbers are all there? It's going to happen. It's just sad to watch. It just proves that just because you're the leaders of higher education doesn't mean you're smart, because this leadership they have out there is being totally bamboozled by their commissioner, who's now in save his own ass mode, period.
I think it's funny that the CW's brought up, and they are being paid by LIV to air their golf.
Yeah, they delved into, I didn't realize this first, they delved into golf. They're doing some, they're being paid to air it.
Literally no one, it's hilarious. Literally no one wants to air the Pac-12, and literally nobody wants to air LIV.
Right.
So LIV bought the airspace on CW.
What's a better product, LIV or Pac-12 football?
I don't know.
The other golfer is LIV bad.
Oh, well, I mean, if you're looking at the number of guys that went from the PGA to LIV, and if you're comparing that to the Pac-12, it'd be kind of like USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten, I guess. You're two big fish leaving. But those are like the biggest fish.
Yeah.
So maybe not exactly, but you can kind of make that comparison, I guess. But no, you don't want to be on the CW.
The Pac-12 leadership is just so unplugged from the realities of the marketplace, understanding what their product is and how people perceive their product. They had convinced themselves they were going to get $40 million a school. There is literally no evidence of that being true unless there's some scam artist out there as a consultant selling them these ideas just so that he can get paid. And then he goes on Twitter, just hypothetically speaking, TJ, just goes on Twitter and trashes everyone and blocks everyone who knows he's a liar. So it's all very entertaining to me. It's also kind of sad because I got to tell you, from watching the Pac-12 leadership, how their chancellors and presidents interpret information and critically think, don't send your kids to go to school there. If the president and chancellors can't critically think and understand facts and statistics and the marketplace and the public, you don't want to try to learn from them. There, I said it. You're academic snobs and you're idiots at the same time. Wrap your mind around it. Gills, you got anything more to say?
I agree.
Thank you. That's it for the PowerCat Questions podcast. We'll have an overtime probably this weekend. I don't know when we're going to record it. We will. Got another edition of Fighting Every Friday coming up. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it's going to be a really hairy episode.
Thank you for listening to the PowerCat Podcast. Make sure you're subscribing to our show at Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you get your podcasts. PowerCat Podcast. All rights reserved. GoPowerCat.com.
With Blue Link Plus, you can access your Hyundai Tucson Limited remotely. Doors unlocked, temperature set, lost car found.
There it is.
Get complimentary class-leading Blue Link Plus. Call 562-314-4603 for complete details.
Who is June Carter Cash? You don't know music until you know June. Experience the artist and icon story of talent, ambition, and loyalty.
She had this spark, the it.
June. New documentary now streaming exclusively on Paramount Plus. Go to Paramount Plus to try it free. Terms apply.